Hey there, this is the Tormek T4 sharpening system. I've done a bit of an introductory video to it when I didn't really know how to use it. Now I've used it a whole bunch. I'm happy to do pretty much a proper review on it. So let's have a look at the different parts of it. This is a powered sharpener with repeatable results, and it's got a sharpening wheel and a strop wheel. The sharpening wheel is this one here, and the strop wheel is this one here. The aim of it is to use certain jigs that you do buy separately to sharpen pretty much any tool, and the jig comes with the instructions on how to use it. I'll be looking at it from a knife sense, so this is your knife jig. This is a standard size knife jig, and there's also a larger knife jig. Now, a question that I wish I had known the answer to straight away was, can you use this one for all knives? And you can't really, it's just too long. So this is the one to get if you're sharpening mainly knives under like 9 inches, apart from your big kitchen knives or like your huge knives like your Trailmaster, this is the one that you want to be using. Alright, so we'll just go into the various components, and then I'll sharpen a knife, or do some footage of me using it, and just my final thoughts. So this is the grinding wheel and its water trough. The water trough is filled up and the water goes across the grinding wheel for the whole time it's being used, keeping the micro shavings off it and keeping the blade edge cool as well. This is the guide bar, so this system here can go either, this will be your tool rest here, and you change these, loosen these knobs, and then you have it go in or out as far as you can to therefore keep the tool, increase or decrease the angle that the tool rests against the wheel at. So you can have it either going this way with the wheel, because the wheel turns this way. And so this will cause sort of less material removal and also be a bit more gentle but a bit slower as well. Or you can put it up this way, so the blade is brought down to the edge that's moving towards the blade. And either way, it's completely, you can really dial it in using this knob here for winding it up really slowly or down really slowly, and then once you've got your settings in, you can lock it in. You don't really have to lock it in, I've noticed the need to, and then you can do any micro adjustments using the wheel at the end of the jig. So you can wind this back and forward, and it moves the steel rod that the jig's on in and out as well. So you can and once it's all set up, and you can just leave it in the configuration you like. You just have to change it for each individual knife, just a tiny little bit, depending on how long the blade face is. This is the stropping wheel, and it comes with this stropping compound, but then you can put other compounds on it as well. If you have like a more jeweler's rougey type finish stuff, you can put really fine compound against it. But this Tormek stuff seems to be pretty good, seems to cut pretty well. I think it cuts at about 4,000 grit, so it's good enough to shine and polish your edges. So on and off buttons there. On is recessed for safety, off is protruding and bright red, and they're both covered in waterproof plastic sort of stuff, so that's good. What else is there to show you on this? Nothing else really, that's the full kit. This is what it comes with. Of course, the other thing it comes with is this stone, which you can alter the grit of the wheel with. So this wheel right now, it's on 1,000 grit, it's nice and smooth. 1,000 grit's pretty good for most tasks, but if you need to reprofile an edge, so like change the bevel angle or something, you want to use this one first on this wheel, and you hold it against it while it's on, and I'll show you doing that right now. Turn it on, start by putting a little bit more water in, just a fill line there that you work up to. The stone absorbs a fair bit of water. Alrighty, so you get this rough side, and you just hold it against there. It's made it much more rough already. About a minute or so I found does the job. Yeah, it's definitely nice and rough. You can feel the grit there on that now. Perfect. Alrighty, so now that it's set up to do some cutting first, what you then look at is your angle finder. So this is the 200 SG200, so it's 200 mil diameter of the wheel from one side to the other. So because it's the SG200, you only need to change this once to the 200. So this will be the tool for all the different Tormeks. The bigger Tormeks are 250, you've got smaller ones at 150. So this will be a a set once and forget kind of thing. So 200 for me, because what you do is you place this along the top of here with your knife, which I'll show you in a second. So that's important, this edge here is right to rest. And then here is where you set your angle. So I'm generally doing just under 20° each side angles on my knives, so that's generally there, just as it is as well. Like pocket knives, my Spyderco Mantra I reprofiled yesterday. It's got a good, about an 18° edge on it. Holds it really well. M4 steel can definitely manage a more extreme edge like that, but your softer stuff or your more brittle stuff, you might want to put a slightly more durable angle, maybe up to 20° or something. It does, you really do notice those numbers when you're using, this is pretty much a precision sharpening tool, so yeah, it's good. Anyway, let's set a knife up in the jig and I'll show you how it's working. Alrighty, sacrificial Ganzo. So, two different adjustment systems here. If you've got a really wide blade, you wind this knob first and you really get those jaws open. So you can fit up to, like, I can fit the Trailmaster in these, like you can fit a really wide knife in there, but because the Ganzo is not super wide, I'll dial it back down a little bit. And then all you're after is having this edge of the tool more or less in line with the primary flat edge of the knife. So flat grind doesn't matter, all the grinds are fine. There's enough grab and enough surface contact on this thing to really hold the knives into place. So I know some sharpeners you find the knife sort of rocking out and stuff. Not on this one, it's really well held in. Cool. So I prefer to work, I find a little bit more forgiving to work with the grinding going with the wheel. So I'll pop it here, and now what I'll do is I'll dial in my angle. Alright, so I've got my Ganzo knife here. So that's it resting against the, let's get some focus going here. Alright, so my knife here is resting against the wheel. And then what you do is you get this here, and you're resting this edge here, so this flat part of the sharpener, the angle finder, against the surface of the blade, and you want it to be flat against the bevel before the edge, not the actual edge. So right now it's a little bit up on one side, so I need to move the knife towards the stone to just increase that angle slightly. So what I'm doing is I'm winding this part here, so winding it so the knife moves towards the stone just a little bit, just a couple of millimeters. And now, actually, I think I was wrong. I think it needs to move away. You do. I'm still learning a little bit. These things don't happen 100% naturally to me just yet. So I've moved it away a bit. So now, that's almost perfect. Back towards. You really dial it in. There we go. That's good. I'll just bring the camera in and show you what I mean. I did appreciate the clarity when I started doing it. Right, so this flat edge here is sitting flush on the surface of the blade. So the edge is, because it goes from half and half, so it goes one side, then you turn the knife over on the other side. You don't need to treat it any differently. It's just as if it was a chisel, except all you're going to do is turn it over halfway. So if this was just a single edge chisel, you just do it this one way, you do it on that edge and forget it. You don't need to do anything different with a knife, because you are just turning it over and getting it back to the same angle on the other side as well. Jeez, it's a bit blurry. Sorry about that. So the knife's ready to start grinding away at. So what I'll be doing is I'll colour in the edge, and that way you'll be able to see how it actually removes material. Alrighty, so I've got a coloured in knife edge there, it's all blacked out. So what I'll do is I'll do a bit of cutting, and then I'll show you how it's removed the Sharpie. See, I'm just sliding the knife over the stone, and then as you get to the tip, you just pull this handle back a bit. And it's not, it seems like it would be really easy to muck up, but it's really not. It just seems like there's enough things that are constant. So I guess the angle of this tool, the stone is obviously super flat, the tool rest isn't moving, so everything else is the same, so it is really, really repeatable. As long as you just pull the handle away in about the right way each time, you still get a nice even bevel. So depending on the hardness of your steel is depending on how long this will take, but it'll be, my M4 steel is probably doing this for about 5 minutes, which is, you know, that's a bit longer than usual because M4s are really hard, sort of a bit harder to work with steel. So this 440C shouldn't take too long. See how we're going. So as you can see, it's removed the Sharpie pretty much to where I would like it, and now I've got like a nice flat, you can see the silver, long silver bevel, so a bit steeper 20-degree bevel. So this steel is probably a little bit soft for that sort of bevel, but it's just for demonstration purposes, a bit of a sacrificial knife. So really, you don't need to change too much once you've got this set up the way you like it. All you need is, if you have a shallower blade face, you just need to make it so this much knife is sticking out, and you won't even need to make an adjustment at all. But really, it's really not hard to change it up. So that's that side. That should be fine for that, and I'll just do the other side to even it up. You need a bit of a steady hand, but once you get the technique right, you don't have to worry too much about knocking your knife. You just don't want to accidentally catch the edges, because that will leave a little bit of a, and it is fixable, but it'll leave a little bit of a mark on your blade that you'll need to then do this for a while and get out. What I've noticed too, this is really good for restoring tips. If you have actually rounded off a tip using like a work sharp, which I had done on my Mantra a little tiny bit, I've really got my acute tip back on the Mantra from this using this sharpener. It's actually got a really nice fine tip once again, so it is good for that. A little bit of material removal, but not too dramatic. So that is that side done. A little bit more. I am doing a full reprofile, so it does take a little while longer just to get that material, that bevel all straight and all encompassing right to the edge. So on this side that I'm grinding now, it's actually done it right up to the terminating edge, but not the terminating edge just yet, so a few more passes should wear that material away. Perfect. So we've got a nice sharp true bevel all the way to the edge. The water makes it look a bit distorted, but it is right to the edge. It's rough because it's only 200 grit, but now what we do is we get the stone once again and we put it back to 1000 grit for our last sort of polishing and refining stage. Alright, so I've reset the grit to 1000, and now because I've just left the knife in here, all the same angles are still in place. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this edge and make it nice and we just increase the grit on it so it's a bit more polished and a bit more fine. So same motions again. It's much more quiet with the 1000 grit because it's not removing as much material. Just a slight sort of smooth polishing kind of sound. You'll hear the bevel, or sorry, you'll hear the burr being cleaned off the bevel a little bit when you move it around, but that's 100% fine. Try and get you a better angle. And this step here can often just be a starting step. If all you need to do is get your Sharpie colour in your edge and just make sure you're repeating what's already on there, and or you can just use this for a lot longer and it'll still do that material removal, but I'd suggest doing it with a with the 200 grit myself. It should really be plenty on each side. So now do your stropping, which I take it out of this. You can leave it in here and swap this over, but stropping's fine to be done freehand as it's not a destructive process. So let's do some of that. So this is your stropping wheel. I just put a few drops of this on there, just turn it around manually. It's just leather, so it's not super bothersome. If something was to happen to it, you could probably just replace it yourself or just buy another one. You just feel just the texture of it when you're using it on the burr side especially. It'll just be a little bit rough for a few seconds and then it'll go smooth, and that means the burr's been taken off, which is good. And then you just do it on the other side just to polish your edge nicely. Don't mind that bit of compound. Try and leave a bit of compound on there for next time, but it's all good. Now I'll just wipe this off and I'll show you how sharp that blade is. So that's your finished product, and we'll just go along my arm here. Geez, bit of a battleground here. Easily shaves off hair, whoop, as long as your angle is right, otherwise it just cuts your wrist. But yeah, it's very much a shaving sharp edge without any real worries. Only thing you're thinking of really is with your softer steels, you probably want to set the edges a little bit steeper than this, because as nice as that is to be able to shave with a Ganzo knife 440C, if you put that into something sort of hard or rough, it could well roll because it just doesn't have that toughness behind it. It'll either flatten or it won't chip, but it'll with your softer steels it'll roll and deform pretty easily at that more extreme edge geometry. Just grab some cardboard, why not? So cardboard's a bit old, but it's yeah, super sharp and makes nice neat looking edges like that are just one sort of flat straight line. You notice it's not super polished, it's shiny, but it's not super polished. To do that, you can get a wet Japanese waterstone attachment, which is a 4000 grit stone. Otherwise, that's about as good as you get using 1000 grit then strop. It's really shiny, somewhat reflective, but not, you know, not reflection or you won't be able to see your face in it, anything like that. So in my opinion, this gets knives up to about sort of really good factory edge quality, maybe slightly better. I think in terms of absolute crazy sharpness, you're still probably going to get better on the adjustable. Cut myself. You're still going to get better on the adjustable like KME or Edge Pro Apex type systems, just because you've got a much sort of finer degree of control with the strokes as well. That's only moving at 120 RPM, so it's still not too rough, but I think when you can do each individual stroke yourself, you're probably going to be able to get a little bit more, A, fine control, and B, you've got that variability in lots of different stones and surfaces you can use on your KME or Edge Pro as well, just to get that super high finish. The Tormek is really, really good for doing all your knives without the crudeness of the work sharp. The work sharp puts a convex edge on it, which is somewhat, probably only about 70% max sharpness really. It's a good tough edge, and a good working edge, but nothing as fine or as nice as this. So this is about, so if you've got your Apostle P, professionally sharpened like with an Apex type sharpener, that's 100% sharpness. This is probably about 85 to 90% of what you can get a knife with this initial setup that I've got here. So yeah, this is how it comes. 1000 grit, 200 grit in the wheel, plus the strop and the compound. So that will do everything to about that 85 to 90%. More attachments needed to get it better than that. So the Japanese Waterstone wheels are a couple of $100 for this one. That's probably something I will look into eventually, just because I do. And each jig you have to buy separately. There is about 20 or 30 different jigs for this machine, for chisels, for everything. I'm only using it for knives and axes. So I've got my knife one here, and I do have the axe one here, but I would still recommend using a hand stone for your axes, because this won't do a convex edge, and I think an axe pretty much needs a convex edge. I think it's essential anyway. So if you are going to be doing bigger knives, you just use this guide here, which is exactly the same process, but it's especially with your flexible kitchen knives, it just holds more of the surface so they don't move around as much. But to have this as a knife sharpener, you're just simply buying this, which does come with the stone, the refining stone and the paste, and then just your knife jig will be plenty to do all of your pocket and sort of fixed blade knives under 9 inches. Even if they are over 9 inches or about this size, you can, as long as they're thick and stiff enough, you can still use this guide, but it might be a little bit clumsy for you. Alright, so overall, for about the $700 to $800 you pay for the basic Tormek and this jig, I love it. I understand it's way too expensive for most people, but then getting a Edge Pro or something can be up to $1,000 here if you're getting all the different attachments and all different stone grits and all that sort of thing. So really it's probably about the same. This is just a quicker way to do it with a slightly less refined finish as it comes now. So that's my review of the Tormek. It's brilliant for me and I really like it. I'm not going to upgrade to any, this will do me for sharpening. I'll probably upgrade to the Japanese whetstone at some point, but that'll be about it. Alright dudes, thanks very much for watching and I'll see you later.